here we are talking about the worldly winds. I'm going to go back to this original stanza from the sutta, which says, bhikkhus, that's monks, bhikkhus, these 8 worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these 8 worldly conditions. Which 8? Gain and loss, disrepute and fame, blame and praise, and pleasure and pain. So today we're going to look at fame and disrepute, favorable notoriety and disgrace, shame, censure. Choose the words that help you understand the nature of these weather patterns. They are bound to either lift us up or let you down. We're loved by some, disliked by others, seen as not important, invisible, seen as less than, more than, not enough. We size ourselves and each other up. Welcome to the world that we've created. Just look at how we treat folks in the entertainment industry. We have on public display a sense of how we put people on a pedestal, hang on their every word and move until we don't, until a fatal flaw or a crack in the veneer reveals the truth and they fall from grace. And then, sadly, though instructionally, we can see what unethical behavior looks like and potentially learn a lesson of what to avoid. These are public lessons in personal ethics. And we have an appetite, a desire for these kinds of dramas that swing between one extreme and the other. The rags to riches to rags again, the invisible nobody who becomes a real somebody, and the somebody who becomes invisible or something you'd prefer to avoid. Bad guys, good guys, heroes, villains. Reality shows are built on these shifting tides of prestige and respect. But is it really any different in our minds? Whether out there in the larger world or in here in my own little world, do we see the heroes and the villains? We have them. We have the parts that seek recognition and belonging. They're cousins to these grandiose and extremes of fame and shame. In fact, these are better understood more as a continuum of respectability, you could say. Typically, though, when we see pairs like this, we tend to think a bit more dualistically and dogmatically. They are, or we are, this or that, good or bad, held in high regard, little regard, no regard, or invisible completely. It might be more fruitful and more realistic to think along a continuum within a range or an expanse, so that the subtle shades and textures of nuance that are really lived in the pixelations come to the fore, because this is where we live, in the pixelations, most of us anyway, in small town notoriety, within a family system, within our own minds, the belonging, the not belonging, and the not worthiness. We have a valence of respectability that is merited or not, that we bestow on ourselves or that others bestow on us, and we react to and out of that. So let's operationalize this teaching for ourselves in our own lives. What is our relationship to being given or having status, power, popularity, notoriety? Really, what happens? How does it feel inside? What is our reaction? And what happens outside? How do others react to us? How does the experience change when it feels merited or not? What is our reaction to being judged as less than or not enough? Or to truly acting in ways that we feel are beneath us, that are unskillful? What does that feel like? Yuck, really. What is it like to be judged unfairly, unjustly, when we feel misjudged and misunderstood? How about when secretly we feel ashamed of our behavior? Because we all know that whether or not someone sees that we've done something wrong, we know. We know. And it feels a particular way. Who wants to feel that? Yet, isn't this what arises when we've fudged the facts or told a little lie in some way? Right? We feel a little of the yuck. Don't our hearts sense that? They can anyway. And what do we do with that information? Well, the more seasoned we get, the more we learn that these are data points that chart a path toward less suffering. How, you may ask? Well, first, knowing what's going on, noticing and naming what's happening. This is foundational to having a relationship with anything. Second is, once we've named it, well, now we can see what it really feels like inside. Feel the highs and the lows of reputation with ourselves and with others. That's probably the hardest part of the practice. Really, so easy does it. Learning to ride the waves, it can be really unpleasant. It can even be rough at times. So you want to learn how to stay safe. Just begin to notice the weather patterns on and off the cushion. Remember that this is an all-inclusive practice. We leave nothing out. Notice the weather patterns as we sit, how the mind will bring up stories about us in good light or in bad light. Notice how we may be going along, minding our own business, and suddenly the mind flashes on a time when we blurted out something embarrassingly rude. And we remember that. Ugh, feels awful. Feels awful when we've done that. But that's just the mind. Yup, that's just the mind. And also, this is just the practice. The practice really does bring these to the fore, and we want it to. That's the point of the practice, to see the junk so that we can bring it forward, clear it out. That is what will help us to see and feel more clearly. So notice the reactions. Notice when you take the bait. Notice when you believe the story and become the pain. Ouch. No, okay, no problem. Remember, this is our collective habit, and this is your habit in particular. We'll just keep noticing and breathing and staying there in the present moment. Ground and breathe. Keep your feet on the ground. Now, if you can, notice the rattle. If you can, begin to notice some of the tones and the textures of that vibration. Let it unwind. Keep breathing, let it unwind. Now, turn and feel for an attitude of kindness and care. No judgment, at least no judgment. Get out of the way and let the organism reestablish homeostasis. It knows how to do this, actually, without our help. This is how we begin to find our balance, how we begin to come back to centeredness and to see it more clearly and feel it more clearly. This is what mindfulness actually teaches us to do, to tack or to steer the boat toward middleness, to keep the boat afloat, to keep us upright, right? In stormy seas. So see the weather patterns. See the weather patterns and feel the vortex of energy, feelings, and thoughts that are associated with that system, and respond accordingly. Steer using the North Star of right view that moves us in the direction of less suffering and more ease of well-being, and with an attitude of non-harm and goodwill. We can do this. We really can. And it's for our welfare to do this. It's for our shared welfare to learn how to sail these seas. All right? So let's keep our eye on the North Star. Let's be kind to ourselves as we encounter these experiences, and let's try to steady the boat. Okay, that's enough for now. Thank you for your kind attention.